Morgan. And an interviewer, Ian Colbert.
Have a seat, gentlemen. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. It gives me great pleasure to be able to introduce and interview two Doctor Who legends. First of all, Mr. Matthew Robertson. This is his first ever Doctor Who convention. And he said last. And it also gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Andrew Morgan. So welcome, gentlemen. Welcome to Derby.
Thank you.
Welcome to Whooverville. So I suppose we must start with you, Matthew. This is your first Doctor Who convention. What do you think of it so far?
Rubbish.
Well, my mind is in a complete whirl. I haven't got used to it. It's like being in a sort of spacewalk, and seeing all these people with their costumes is just unbelievable. I had no idea it was going to be like this. I thought it was going to be ordinary people.
And Andrew, how are you finding today?
It's lovely. It's the first time I've been not out of London really, to a convention, and it's great. It's so much nicer than being in London, I think, and it's lovely to see all these gorgeous people. And I haven't seen people dressed up like this before either. I mean, I have seen the odd one, the odd two.
You mean they're odd?
They're odd, definitely odd. But no, it's great, and I hope you're all enjoying it, and as much as I am.
Yeah.
And Matthew. Yeah. I know he is because he told me he is.
So I want to take you back to the start of your careers as director. So let's start with you, Matthew. How did you become a director?
I made a film at school, actually, when I was 17, 18, just before I left school, about school. And the pleasure of actually making that film gave up, for me, gave up the idea of acting, because I used to act in school plays. So I thought, no, I want to be behind the camera. So after university, I got a job at the BBC, and I started directing for programs like the Money Programme and Nationwide.
So factual programs?
To start with. But I always wanted to move into drama. And I got a break to go to BBC Birmingham. They gave me a break there, and I started to do Play for Days and Second City Bursts. And that was a little bit too intellectual for me, and I wanted to sort of do stuff that really appealed to the population. I wanted to do stuff that would appeal to millions as opposed to hundreds of thousands. So I got myself into soap opera. Emmerdale, Angels, Coronation Street, EastEnders, Vicar Grove, and on the way Doctor Who too. But I suppose I wanted to be a populist rather than an intellectual.
Thank you. And Andrew, how did you get into the world of directing?
I wanted to be an actor, and I got into RADA, Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, and while I was there, I had a great time, but I sort of realised that I had the role. I wasn't sort of juvenile lead. I wasn't, like I say facetiously, I wasn't pretty enough, but I wasn't that sort of character. I was good at character parts. Polonius was my best part, I think, rather, and I was in my 20s. But I persevered for 2 or 3 years as an actor. My first job was with a Brian Rix farce at the Whitehall Theatre, and then we did a tour of that, and then I went to, by this time I was in stage management, and I went to York Rep, and I think I got £8 a week when I first went there, and we did a summer season in Scarborough, and we used to have a theatre there, and I became a stage manager there on £14 a week, which was great, and managed to survive quite well with a flat and everything, so little money, it's extraordinary. And then became a stage director, and I fell in love with my wife, and we got married, and my uncle worked at the BBC as a booking actress and things. And he got me a job as an assistant floor manager at the BBC. I went there and started to work in television, which was amazing after the theatre. Great fun. You know, one of my first jobs was on Sherlock Holmes.
Who played Sherlock in that?
Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Nigel Stock. And we were filming in the Dark Valley Railway, and my job was to be on the footplate of this old steam train and tell the driver when, with a walkie-talkie when to stop and when to stop and all that. And I thought, this is absolute bliss. I've got all my evenings off and I can stay on trains and puff my way up and down the line. And I really enjoyed it, and then worked my way up through the BBC as a location manager and then a first assistant, and eventually got the director's course and did the director's course. And after a while, difficult really to sort of try and get, I got a few jobs on Softly, a thing called Southerners Law in Scotland, and a few other little jobs. And then I had to go back on the floor again, and then eventually I was offered a Secret Army by Jerry Glaister, the producer, and a Blake 7 at the same time. And I left, went freelance, and I've been a director ever since. I wanted to be a producer actually, and then when I started directing, I realised that I had a sort of epiphany moment. I thought, no, this is what I want to do. I want to be with the actors, I want to tell them what to do, and I want to make the programmes rather than make a series of programmes. Because like Matthew, I was a populist, so I was interested in popular programmes, not necessarily soaps, but I mean, I don't call Doctor Who a soap, but at all. But I like to do series like A Need in Line or popular things like that, and Secret Army, and you know, lots of other things. And Blake 7 I did, so I think that's how I started.
Thank you. Matthew, did you do the director's course at the BBC?
No, I didn't. I learnt on the job. First of all, as I said, on the Money programme, and then on Nationwide. So I learnt as I was doing it, really. And the thing was that, particularly with Nationwide, when we, as a producer, a director, we would go out and find our own little stories and send them back to London, maybe 5-6 minute stories. More and more I was wanting to use ordinary people like actors. So I got more and more wanting to do drama rather than... I found that ordinary people weren't good enough at acting. So, I mean, like, I remember one particular story I did. It was down in Southend, I think, and a vicar was training to swim the channel. And so I thought this was going to be a great story for Nationwide. So I went, what can I do with it? So I had this idea that I'd take him to the beach, and we would have him disrobe, and we'd put the stripper music over it, and we'd leave him with his swimming trunks and his dog collar. So we did, and it was great, you know, and I mean, he did it really well. And he went into the water with his dog collar and his swimming trunks, and we had and it was a great success. Did lots and lots of stories like that all over the country, but at the same time, as I say, I wanted to actually work with actors and create emotion and stories and get people involved from one week to the next, which is why I concentrated on soap and popular programs.
Yeah.
You've both worked on so many different programmes over the years, but we're here today to talk about Doctor Who. Does that surprise you about that interest in, you know, that work that you did in the 1980s?
You mean the Doctor Who work?
Yeah, the Doctor Who work, yeah. Because there's no sort of like EastEnders conventions.
No, exactly. There are
heartbeat conventions or anything like that.
No, there aren't. There's the Blake 7.
Yep.
And Doctor Who, and that's about it. Really, as far as the shows I've done. They're great. I love the conventions because I love meeting people like yourselves, and it's wonderful as a director to know, because you never see your audience. You know, you do the thing, it goes out, and it's either good or it's not so good or whatever. A few critics might write a thing about it, but you don't actually ever see your audience. But coming here, you know, you're kind of appreciated, and I feel that I'm made to feel that I've actually done something worthwhile, that's given a bit of joy to some of you people, and that's a lovely feeling. I don't know whether you feel that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when John Nathan Turner asked me to do the first Doctor Who, I didn't even particularly care for the programme. For me, I was a jobbing director. I don't know about you, Andrew, but I had a few months out and used to get depressed, and then I was very pleased when the agent rang. And one day the agent rang and said, you know, JNT would see if you're interested in doing Doctor Who. And yeah, okay, I'll go and see him. And I was very lucky to be offered the Daleks. I mean, like, the biggest monster of all.
Yeah.
So it was a job, but then I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I loved working with Peter Davison. I loved working with all the people working the Daleks and the whole team. And I was absolutely delighted when John came back to me the next year and offered me not just any old Doctor Who, but Cybermen. So of the two I've done, I got Resurrection, as a Daleks and Cybermen. How lucky can you get on that?
Yeah. And that's it, isn't it? You know, for both of you, you know, to be given, you know, to work with the Daleks and your stories have gone down in television history. They are well regarded by everybody in this room and all Doctor Who fans across the world. So I want to ask about Resurrection of the Daleks, and it was supposed to have been a production a year ago before you got it. Were you aware of the backstory and the history of the failed production?
No, not at all. I mean, John didn't talk to them. I had no idea it had been set up before. He just called me in, freelance director, and gave me the scripts, and no, I had no idea about that.
So you were freelance at this time, you weren't a deep sea staff director?
Oh, no. Back, as soon as I left Nationwide, I went freelance into drama. That was back in '73. So I, you know, had 10 years of freelance work on before I got this job.
I want to ask you both about casting and your approach to casting. And was JNT heavily involved and, you know, forcing you to cast certain people, i.e. like Runa Lenska, for example?
No. Let me just tell you about JNT. He never, to me, I don't know about you, Andrew, but he never suggested any particular name. All he said is, I want stars. Stars! Just get me stars! Any star will do. And in fact, I said, well, what about Who's star? And he said, yeah, great. He said, come back and do as many Doctor Who's as you like if you can get her. And we did actually sort of get on with the negotiations with Who's star, but somehow it all fell apart.
Well, there are photos of her and Colin. There was a photo called For Them Both, but it then fell through.
It fell through. I don't know whether that was pressure from the palace or what. It might have been. I don't know, but whatever. I mean, we had an exchange of letters, and she wrote me a very nice letter saying she just somehow couldn't deal. But John just wanted big names.
Yeah. I mean, I found that in the first one I did, Kate O'Mara he'd already arranged that Kate should be in it, which I was delighted about because I knew her anyway, and that was great. But apart from that, we did all our own casting.
Yeah.
And it was before the days of casting directors and that sort of thing. So it was great. One used to chat to the agents, you know, used to make a list of the cast and a character breakdown, send it out to some of the agents, and ask them to make suggestions, and you went through Spotlight, the actors' sort of dictionary of all the different things. That look at, oh, he'd be good. Are they available? You get on the phone and ring up the agent. Are they free? No, they're not. Yes, they are. Whatever. And then you bring the